Just Incredible here with a Mega Man X3 100% tutorial on the advanced CF-0 Vile fight that is used in 100%. This strat is probably the most difficult strat to learn and execute in this category, and it's usually the last thing every serious X3 runner will pick up. So before I go into the tutorial for the strat, I want to go over some things about the strat. This strat is a lot more execution heavy than the standard basic 4-charge shot uncharged Race Blaster strat that most players start out with when they learn this game. This strat uses strategic shot placement, CF-0 strat with the Race Blaster and the charge Race Blaster pod, which you only see during this fight, and in some cases the Doppler 1 boss fight. It also uses planned damage boosting and a whole lot of precise execution with the inputs. This strat is also very risky because you cannot waste a single Race Blaster shot and not lose time. If you miss a shot, just like in the other strat, you will lose time, but you stand to lose a lot more time if you use this strat. And also, if you fail to kill Vile with Ray Splasher on the last shot, on the last hit in Phase 2, then you can't get the Z-Saber. So this strat is a lot riskier, especially if you're on a good run and you don't want to lose it and you want to use this strat. It's really, really imperative that you execute everything down to the smallest detail. So, on with the strat. This strat saves at least 7-8 seconds, maybe more, depending on how optimal you want to get. But the strat that I'm going to show, especially for Phase 1, is the strat that I use. It's a very easy to learn strat. Because it follows a specific pattern, so there's no tricky stuff that you have to deal. You just have to remember a specific number of shots and then charges. So here we go. Let me get this back to the proper shot here. I should have got this fixed beforehand. Here we go. Alright. So, once the fight begins, Vile will immediately dash towards you and stop just in front of you. So, it kind of follows the very first part of it when you come in with the 2 charge shots, the red charge. It follows the very basic first thing. You're going to release your 2 charge shots first. So that part is the same, but then right after that we change it up. So as soon as the fight begins, Vile has a set pattern during Phase 1. He's going to dash towards you, and he's just going to stop just in front of you, wherever you may be, and then he'll punch. If you are still in front of him after he punches, he's going to punch again. So that allows you to actually jump in place, just like the Blizzard Buffalo fight, if you use the easier strat for that fight to deal damage this way. So you can just stand there, and all he'll do is punch. And if you time it right, you can just lock him. But we're not going to do that. So first, he's going to meet you right in front of you and punch you. But you're going to release your first charge shot. And make sure that you're holding charge when the fight starts, because if you're not holding Y as the fight begins, you immediately go to your second neon shot, and you're already losing time. So you make sure you hold Y when the fight begins, and you're going to dash forward, release your charge, and then jump. And then as you're in the air, he's going to punch you, but he's going to whiff. And then afterwards, when you land, you're going to, from missing the first punch, you're going to fire your second charge and jump to avoid his punch again. And as long as you're not moving horizontally, he's not going to move to match you. He's just going to stand right where he's at. So after you fire the 2 charge shots, you're going to, if you use default controls like I do, you're going to press L 4 times, and you're going to go to default, you're going to go to Ray Splasher from default X Buster. So that we're going to cover first. And I've got my, I've actually got my, a video of the actual fight, so I don't have to do any gameplay here. I just have to do playback and everything. So this is the first fight as shown. So we've already switched to Ray Splasher 4 times. So that's the first part. So here we go. So while continuing jump to dodge the punches, you're going to fire 3 uncharged Ray Splashers in a row. So as you're jumping, you're just going to fire Ray Splasher. So you just have to time the jumps to match when he's about to punch you. Now, after firing the 3rd Ray Splasher, we are going to hold charge and allow Val to punch you. Now, that's very important, and I'll explain here in just a moment. But I'll also want to draw your attention to this that I've got marked here. I'm actually keeping track of the units of energy that we have remaining of Ray Splasher. And this will be important later. But for now, I just want you to keep in mind how much energy you have while you do this fight. Or while I explain it. So after you do the 3rd Ray Splasher, you're actually going to hold charge. This is the CF-0 charge strat part. And you're going to allow Val to punch you. And then after that, you're going to hold over against the left wall. And he's actually going to follow you, and then he's going to punch you. Now, the reason we dashed forward from the start is so that when we do the first charge Ray Splasher pod, you actually buy yourself enough time to reach that charge. Because Val has to stop, punch, stop, and then he has to follow you, stop again, and then punch before he can actually damage you. So if we were to stand here in the corner at the very start and try to charge, he'll knock us out of our charge, or he'll knock us before we even get it up to that level. And it actually loses time if we don't do this dash forward, because we have to wait for him to punch again before we can even release the pod. So that's why we dash forward at the start, because this buys us enough time to get back to the wall to reach our charge in time before he punches. And then here at this moment, I'll release the pod, and it's automatically going to break because the hitbox of the pod touches Val's giant hitbox here. His hitbox is really huge, although you really can't see it. So he's dashing up and about to punch. So you should reach charge just in time, and you're going to release the pod while holding to the wall so you actually cancel the knockback. But you really don't have to do that if you don't want to, because he's just going to stand there and about to punch you again. But anyway, when the pod breaks, it's going to deal 5 damage. And we'll also do a damage tally of all the shots that we use at the end of this phase. So due to the animation of the charge ray, you're supposed to lose control, but the punch that Val should do after you release that pod will knock you out of that animation and you get control. So that's another key thing. You need to have control at all times, and that's what those damage boosts are for. Now, the uncharged ray consumes 1 unit of energy. The charged ray consumes 2.5 units. But the first time you use it, if you look here from this meter here and this meter, you see that it used 3 units, but in reality it uses 2.5 energy. So when we use the charge pod again, it's only going to consume 2 units. So don't let that throw you off as we do this as you do the fight. So when you use the charge pod the next time, it's only going to use 2 units to even it out. And it's very important that you don't leave Val with an odd number of HP when you're about to finish the fight, because if you do, that requires an extra shot to deplete that unit, and that wastes a shot, and it pretty much ruins the strat. So, okay, we're going to stop here, and we're going to do the next. We're going to do the first 3 uncharged shots, and then the charged Race Blaster pod that goes into the left wall here. 2, 3, punch, dash over, and let the pod go, and now he's going to punch, and you've got control again. So let me get back here. Okay. So after that happens, we're going to repeat the process. You're going to fire 3 more uncharged Race Splashers. Let me get back here. Here we go. So once you regain control from that punch, you're going to repeat firing the 3 Race Splashers while jumping to avoid the punches. And then once you fire the 3rd ray, you're going to hold charge and dash through Vol and get over to this wall. Now, after firing that charged Race Blaster, it uses 2.5 energy, but it only displays full units. So don't let that throw you off. That's why I've indicated the actual units of energy that you have. So after 3 more uncharged, we're going to charge up, and then we're going to get to this wall. And now, as you see, Vol is getting ready to come at me. But I'm already at pink, so I'm ready to release the charge at any time. And once I do, just like before, the pod's going to instantly break and he takes 5 more damage. And then he's going to punch me, and then I've got control again. Now, it's also imperative that you need Vol, and you need to be over here also on this side of the room for the next phase. So after releasing the second pod, we're back to an flat even number, or a flat even whole number of units. So here is the next part. 1, 2, 3, hold charge, get over to the right wall, and release, and he punches. And now he has 6 units of energy left. Now, after getting punched out of the Race Blaster again, just fire 3 more uncharged Race Blasters while jumping to dodge the punches, and that finishes out phase 1, because he has 6 HP left, and each hit deals 2 damage. So, back to the video, and here's the last part of phase 1. Okay, that's phase 1. And here is the damage tally for phase 1. We have the 2 X-Buster charge shots that we had at the very start, and then the 3 uncharged, and then here's the charged Race Blaster pod on the left wall. Here is the 3 uncharged after, and then here's the charged pod that we just released on the right wall, and then there's the remaining 3. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is a lot more complicated and a lot more intense. But regardless of what strat you use for phase 1, whether you use Hetfield's or Louise's optimal strat, now they do it the best. Caleb has a different strat that he uses, and then this is the strat that I use. So, but regardless of how you do phase 1, phase 2 is the same for everybody. So, after firing 3 more uncharged Race Blasters to finish out phase 1, Val's armor will be destroyed, and then Val will actually retreat to this position in the room. And this is important for the start of phase 2. And as you see, after from the 17 units of energy for before, and firing those 3 uncharged Race Blasters, we're down to 14. That's exactly half of our energy. And we're going to use the rest of it on this next phase. So, now, like I said, the execution for phase 2 is precise and it's intense. So, this is where a lot of failures happen, is right here. So, as soon as Val's meter has filled, you will get control. Now, I want to make this clear. There's no opportunity to do any kind of buffer You can't buffer any inputs because there's no pause. As soon as his meter fills the fight, you've got control. So what you want to do, you want to quickly shoot, jump, and then dash. And then you're going to refire the charge, or you're going to refire Ray Splasher and hold charge. Now, a thing about the Ray Splasher, when you fire the Ray Splasher and then you air dash, you actually cancel the shot. So we want to cancel the first Ray Splasher in Phase 2 after he takes the hit, in which you'll see that here in just a moment. And then after we do the air dash, we want to fire and hold charge for the second shot, like here. So this screenshot shows the second Ray Splasher fired after we air dash cancel the first. And notice that Vile has a specific pattern in this phase too. He's going to jump in your direction. He's going to drop a column of fire, which will track your position. And then after a moment, he's going to rise up to the top of the room, and he's going to fire bullets to track your position. So we're going to use the bullets to get to do specific damage boosting. We're going to use contact damage for damage boosting also when we do these Ray Splasher pods for phase 2. So after firing that second Ray Splasher pod, you're going to hold charge, and you want to stand exactly right here in the room. And you can see the background has a good setup point for positioning yourself. So while you hold charge, you want to make sure he's facing right, because that second shot hasn't dealt damage yet until he lands in the corner here. So the uncharged Ray shot will hit him towards the end of its salvo, and then you want to wait for this column of fire to actually run into X. And this will give you invincibility for the next difficult shot placement. But for right now, we're going to do the first part of phase 1. There's the shot, cancel, and then there's the damage boost. So there's 2 shots there. And let me rewind it for a minute, because this phase will be replayed many, many times. There's shot 1, there's shot 2. And I'll do it again. Shoot, jump, dash, and then shoot again. So it's as soon as his meter fills up, it's, if you use default controls like it's YB, A, and then Y again. Shoot, jump, dash, shoot. Shoot, jump, dash, shoot. And then the column of fire will get hit, and then here comes the next part of the fight. And this is really the key shot right here. It's this shot on the wall that we're getting ready to do. Once the flame column hits you and you have invincibility, you want to, without delay, dash jump to the right wall, and you want to grab the wall at the height of your jump. And then Vile is going to actually rise to do his bullets in the sky. Once you reach the wall, you're going to have charge Ray Splasher ready, because you started charging from way back here, and you waited. So when you actually move to the wall, you reach pink before you get to the wall to release the shot. So as soon as you reach the wall and grab it for just a second, you're going to release the charge. And the way the damage boost here we did, it sets up enough time. Your invincibility frames run out just after you release the shot. So in this frame, X releases the charge Ray Splasher, but the pod has yet to appear. And that happens on the next screenshot. And as you see, the energy's already been deducted. So we had 14 units at the start of phase 2. Let me go back. So we had the first shot, which is canceled, and we're left with 13. Here's the second shot, we're down at 12. So we stand here holding the charge, and when we come up to release this shot, it uses 2.5 units of energy. So from 12, that leaves us with 9.5. So right here, he released. Now you see the charged pod instantly appear, and it's broken. So he's got the 5 damage already dealt, and it's hard to see because this boss meter is in the way. But you can see the Ray Splasher pod instantly break, and then as soon as that breaks, your invincibility will expire just after, as shown right here. So when you get hit here on the wall, you want to make sure you're holding against the wall so you don't get knocked back to the floor. You don't want that to happen because the follow-up is going to be another shot, and you're actually going to climb the wall so that you can hit him in the corner. But just for a moment, we're going to go back and see this released pod. Boom, like that. And I'm going to release now. You just seen the energy depleted. So here comes the release, and it's going to break, and then I get damaged. And then there's the shot to follow up. So once again, there's the damage boost, and there's the release. I held against the wall so I don't fall, and then I'm going to shoot and jump at the same time and hold the shoot button so I charge up for the next pod. See, there's a shot there, and let me cover that right here. So yeah, this is the key moment in Phase 2, because this is really the hardest part. Once I get damaged and I manage to cancel the knockback, I'm going to fire Ray Splasher, hold the charge, and climb the wall so I can score the hit in the corner. And I'm able to do it because I'm invincible from that damage boost. And as you see, I just shot the Ray Splasher, so I'm down to 8.5 units. I was at 9.5 when I released the pod. Now I'm down to 8.5. And you'll score the hit in the corner just like this if you do it correctly. And you want to keep this charge held. You don't want to let go because you're setting up another charge Ray Splasher pod right here next to Vile when he falls down. So let me set the video up again. There's the damage, and there's the climb. And as you see, I'm pressing the shot, and I'm doing a couple of wall jumps to ensure that I'm in the corner. And there we go. I'll play this multiple times. Damage boost, shoot, and jump, wall climb. Release, shoot, jump, and hold your charge. This is really the hardest part in this fight. Is this release, damage boost, shoot, and then you climb and you hold again. There's a lot of inputs going on at this particular spot. Okay, once you succeed getting this shot in the corner, don't get too excited and don't accidentally let go of your charge, because you want to place X right here next to Vile when he falls, like that. And when X reaches full charge again, you're gonna release the next pod. So you stand right here. Once you see pink, you're gonna release your charge, and the pod's gonna end up right above him. Let me there we go. So stand next to Vile as shown, and once you see the pink charge, you're gonna release. Because what's gonna happen is his attack pattern is the same. It's not going to change. He's going to jump in your direction, so he's going to jump this way. So he's going to do this arc, and he's going to jump, hit you, and hit the pod at the same time. So you're instantly going to get control again after taking the damage. And what you're going to do, you're going to stand right here, shoot an uncharged Ray Splasher, and then hold charge again, just like here in the corner. And you can wait for this column of fire to pass you. It won't this column has no bearing, because what you want to do is you want to run into Vol intentionally for this shot coming up here. So as we see, after releasing this shot here, we're down to 6 units, but then we're going to shoot another unit for the uncharge, and that takes us down to 5. So let me get all these set up again. Okay. So let me back this video up just a second here. There's the release. You release, and then shoot. Hold your charge. You're going to take a damage boost on Vol right there, and you're going to, let me stop it here for a minute. Okay, there's the uncharged shot, and now you're holding charge for this next shot here. You're going to take damage so you can get invincibility, and then as he rises, you're actually going to jump up and release the charge pod up into him, like so. And then when he comes up to the ceiling, he's going to fire bullets, and one of them will hit you and knock you out of this, and knock you out of the animation. And this is pod number 3 of 4. And now you're down to 2.5 units after releasing this pod. So just like before, in 1, you want to use an even number of pods because each pod deals 5 damage. So you don't want to have an odd number of HP because you have to kill him with exactly the number of HP that he has left, because you have no extra shots when you do this strat. So let me go back here. Now here comes the damage, the intentional damage boost, and then the CF-0 shot that follows, the charge ray splasher pod. There's the regular shot. You hold charge, you take the D boost, and then as soon as you see pink, jump up and release. Okay, see the pod breaks there, so he's got the damage. So we got, as shown, there's 2.5 units of energy left in the meter. So coming up next is you're gonna fire a ray splasher once you come out of getting once you get control again, but do not hold charge just yet. You're gonna hold charge after the next shot, because if you have 2.5 units or less, if you use the charge pod, it consumes all your energy and you have no energy left for the last 2 HP. So instead of using a CF-0 charge on this shot, you do it on the next one. Because when you fire the second ray splasher shot here, the last one, you have a half a unit of energy. The meter says you don't have any energy, but in reality you have just enough for the last ray splasher pod in the corner to finish the fight. So after you fire the last full energy shot, or the last full unit shot, and you hold charge for the last shot here in the corner, he's going to jump to the corner and he's going to drop a column of fire. Just stand right here and wait for the fire to hit you, just like the very beginning of phase 2 for the first shot. So as you can probably tell, this fight is kind of symmetrical. You're using the first and last charge pods on this side, almost, but then you're using the second and third kind of in the middle. So so once you learn the pattern, it's pretty simple. So you wait for the column of fire to intentionally run into X while you're still holding charge, and then during the invincibility, you're going to walk right here on top of Vol and release the charge pod. And then when he rises up to the ceiling, he runs into it and the fight's done. So we're going to cover the last section of that fight. There's one shot, and then after the second, we hold charge. Don't hold charge there, hold charge here. Let the column of fire run into X, and then just walk over and release once you hit pink. Just trust the strat. It does work. As you see, he has an odd number of HP, but when he's down to the last 5, that's exactly what the last charge pod deals, and that's what kills him. So a couple more times. 1, and there's the second, the last shot. And then here's the damage tally for phase 2. So let me here we go. So here's the damage tally for phase 2. This is the first shot that we canceled. This is the shot after, and we're holding charge for the first pod on the wall that we take a damage boost from while holding the wall. This section of shots is really the hard part of phase 2. Once you get past this shot right here, it's pretty easy. So we start with uncharged, uncharged, charge, uncharged, charged, uncharged, charged, and then uncharged, uncharged, and then charged. So shot, shot, pod, shot, pod, shot, pod, shot, shot, pod. So I'm going to play back the full fight, and I'll just explain it a little bit at a time without the use of slides. So coming up is dash, shot, and then jump. Once you land, you're going to shoot and jump again. Switch over. It's L 4 times on default to Ray Splasher. So you're going to do 3 uncharged. Hold your charge on the third for the pod. 1, 2, 3. Hold your charge. Let him punch you so you get invincibility. And that also delays his attack long enough for you to reach that charge to actually use on him in time. See, he turned pink there, and then right as Val comes up, you release it, and then you get knocked out. So now once you get control, you're going to repeat the process again. 1, 2, 3, hold your charge, dash through Val, and now he's already at pink when you're at this wall, and he's going to come at you. So just release it at any time. You have plenty of time to do so. You get knocked out, and then finish the fight with 1, 2, 3. So now phase 2, you're going to do shot, jump, dash, shot, and then hold the second shot charge. Dash, jump, shoot, or sorry, shoot, jump, dash, and then shoot. Hold your charge. That's the D boost to allow you invincibility to actually get within Val's hitbox. That's the thing about the charge of Ray Splasher pod. If you try to, it takes a moment for the pod to actually come out. So if you get damaged before that happens, you lose the energy and the shot. So right there, the shot's released during X's iframes, and then on the very next frame, there is the damage, and there's the iframes expiring for X, so he gets knocked out of that animation. Also, you're holding against the wall, so you don't get knocked back down, and then once you get control, you're going to jump and shoot, and still hold the Y button to charge for the next Ray Splasher pod. And then if you climb the wall correctly during the iframes, you'll score the hit in the corner. You should still hold charge, and then when he lands, you're waiting for him to turn pink. Once he does, release. Val is going to jump into X and the pod, so he's going to break the pod, and you're going to get control. After that, just stand still, shoot another Ray Splasher, and then hold charge again. Run into Val intentionally, so you get iframes, so you can jump up And right here, you can release the pod now because he's at pink. Like so. And now the bullets will fire. You'll get control. Do one shot. Don't hold charge on that shot. You're going to hold charge on the next one. There's the hold charge on that shot. He's going to jump over you and into the corner, and he's going to drop a column of fire. Wait for the column of fire to hit you. Like so, and then you'll turn pink soon afterwards, and then walk over on top of Val and release the shot into him to finish the fight. So one more time, I'm going to play the fight one time without any interruption, and then that concludes this video. Okay, the length of that fight is about 35 seconds. The old video, or the old strat where you use 4 charge shots and then uncharged Race Blaster, takes about 42 to 43 seconds. So you save 7 to 8 seconds depending on how optimal your execution is. And with that, the tutorial is over. And all I can say is just keep practicing this strat. It's very, very difficult. But once you learn it, the reward is great. It's a massive time save.